There are many coastal communities across the country in the same dilemma. But unlike most uncaring towns crippled by overfishing and the degradation of the environment, this town sprang into action. A two-day workshop was organized in February to plot a course of action aimed at reversing the spoliation of the marine resources in the seas off Santa Fe. Broader and more sweeping environmental problems were also discussed. Every stakeholder was there: the elected officials, the fishermen, the fish wardens, NGOs, the head of the local maritime police. The workshops generated a draft local fisheries code to govern the conduct of fishing activities in the area and to put in place steps to protect and nurture the area's marine resources. It kicked off the crafting of what we call an MPA, or the Coastal Resource Management Program, to enhance and conserve the coastal resources of the island. Beyond developing a local coastal management plan, barangay folks are already moving into action. The Law of Nature Foundation, an active NGO in the area, has introduced the MPA, or the Marine Protected Areas, in coastal barangays of Santa Fe. Again, we need not limit this to the town of Santa Fe in Bantayan, Cebu. This can be found in every coastal municipality around the country. These are pockets of areas in the sea which have old-growth corals and are conducive breeding grounds of fish. To ensure that there is continuous abundance of marine resources, these MPAs must become no-take zones where fishing is not allowed. The Law of Nature Foundation and the Coastal Dynamics Foundation, they educate the fisher folks on the importance of preserving the MPAs and to help in mapping out these areas. The NGOs, they work with the barangay communities, particularly the local fisher folks, in identifying and demarcating the MPAs by setting buoys. And these stakeholders are trained to be involved in ensuring that these MPAs are indeed protected. Out of these 10 barangays of Santa Fe, 9 have already finished mapping and marking their MPAs. And as we speak, the remaining barangay is in the process of doing the same. These are just some of the concrete efforts being undertaken by local communities towards more sustainable fishing practices. We go now to Palawan. The stretch of Puerto Princesa Baywalk offers a grand view of the city's bay area. Local residents and visitors strolling through the Baywalk are often amazed by the absence of litter and plastic, the usual curse of coastal cities. The devotion of the city to cleanliness is actually amazing. Now, the attention of visitors is divided, but the distraction is most welcome. The other attraction is the carousel. What is the carousel? It is a mini train. It plies the whole course of the Baywalk on steel tracks designed for it. Powered by little human exertion and no gas, it represents the fondest dreams of environmentalists, a transport system that does not use fossil fuel. It represents a convenient mode of transport in the context of an inconvenient truth, that the massive use of fossil fuel has been the main abettor of climate change. I was there during its launch on February 14 of this year, and Mayor Ed Hagedorn, an avid environmentalist, is now studying the possibility of using the carousel to augment the transport service at the city proper. The reason why I'm mentioning the use of the carousel is to make known to other cities and municipalities, and even to the cities of Metro Manila, that it is possible to have a mode of transport that does not use fossil fuel and that could be economically and environmentally viable. Puerto Princesa was also the launching place for another innovation of the environment, a tricycle that runs on electricity. They call it the Trike Bayan, and it uses 48 pesos only worth of electricity in a day's run, the cost of a liter of high-octane gasoline. Now, Puerto Princesa is no longer a city just famous for its ecotourism offerings. It has moved into energy conservation as well, frenziedly weaning away from the city from too much dependence on fossil fuel. Just recently, I also visited for the nth time El Nido. I've recently visited El Nido and was fascinated by how the place has preserved its natural beauty over the years. But what amazed me most was the attitude and character of the people. While it is not surprising that El Nido is well known as a premier showcase of biodiversity in the world, I have been inspired by how the ordinary folks the boatmen, the resort staff, the villagers have ingrained the value of preserving the natural wonders of their place. Their value was evident in the way they conduct their daily chores, always conscious and doing the little things that help preserve our environment. In fact, the boatman who took care of me said, "Ma'am, I remember the privileged speech you delivered on your birthday on January 28 of this year," and even quoted the last paragraph of my privileged speech. And that was about climate change and global warming. And I asked him how he found out. And he said, "I downloaded it from YouTube." The boatman of Puerto Princesa, the boatman in El Nido in 10 Knots Foundation was actually very much interested in climate change, global warming.